Thank you for staying with us. This is Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from TVC here in Lagos, and I have Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Moji Jamiu in the house, away from insecurity down, and we'll go to the to ASUU strike. Now, the last has not been heard about the conflict between the Academic Staff Union of University, ASUU, and the federal government. The zonal coordinator of Benin Zone of ASUU, Professor Fred Osume, said the union might be compelled to embark on another strike if the federal government failed to implement the December 2020 memorandum of action signed with it before the suspension of the last strike. Although Professor Osume did not disclose when the strike would commence, he said ASUU members await decision of the national body to give the directive. Jide, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. In the last 2-3 weeks, I've been reading about this impending ASUU strike, and they are sending the signal, they're telling the world that, look, out of the agreement we signed with the federal government in 2020, the federal government, they've not implemented this agreement, and they're calling Nigerians on another strike now. Now, this is September 15. And this one is announcing an impending strike ahead of December. That means the federal government can actually avert and avoid another situation like this.
You know, they've been talking about this and they've been quite patient. Let's tell ourselves the truth.
And that's what I'm.
They've been saying that, look, you signed a memorandum of action since December. That was the basis upon which the strike then was suspended. The strike was suspended, not called off. There's a difference between calling off a strike and suspending it. If you call off a strike, you then need to give sufficient notice before you can back on another strike. If you suspend the strike, it means that you do not need to give your employer any notice. You can resume the strike at any time you deem fit. In this case, you signed a memorandum of action with these guys. Out of the 8 items or so,
9,
they've been able to, they've implemented one and implemented another one partially. The issue of visitation panels, federal government has implemented that the government set of visitation panels to the federal universities. The issue of salary arrears, we've also addressed that to an extent. Now, one of the main issues for which ASUU feels that there ought to be, that the government must listen to them, is the issue of IPPIS. ASUU was asked to come up with an alternative to that payment platform, IPPIS, and they came up with UTAS. They demonstrated the UTAS to the minister and his people. But government still insists that it must be IPPIS. And there's the IPPIS
will not be flexible.
It's not flexible at all. You cannot work within the university setup. Universities thrive on sabbatical, visiting lecturers and all that. Yeah. Even during our time, we had lecturers, some of them from Ibadan.
Yeah.
Some of our own, what do you call them? Graduate lecturers. I've forgotten. Those students that excel, that they gave graduate assistants. Is those lecturers from UI and other people who come and mark their stuff, who train them in the real sense of the word. So they come, they train them, they look at even sometimes our own script to see how well their students have done, have performed, so that they can then know the value of that lecturer. So, and there were some lecturers too who came from the US to come and work in our school.
Exchange
yes, if you have the IPPIS, how do you pay them? The IPPIS ensures that you can only draw salary from one point. So this idea of going to maybe a university in Benin to be a visiting lecturer
or an external examiner.
External examiner. It cannot work. And they've told you, but we just do not want to listen.
During your sabbatical, you want to go and take up.
We agreed that, look, that infrastructure is a big problem in universities. Let's have a fund. Let's set aside money to try to freshen up infrastructure in universities. They agreed, but they are refusing to release any money for that. You need to see some schools. Students in lecture theaters, they sit on the ground. This is a university, for example, a state university.
How can?
ASUU has demanded that they should do something about state universities. They can't fund these state universities,
yes,
but they continue to churn out state universities.
All the states, they want to have their university.
Look at we are talking about
glorified secondary school.
Yes, we are talking about some.
How are you going to write?
How do you receiving instruction in this cumbersome manner? How can you produce solid students? Now, some of the lecturers. I mean, we are talking about some states not paying doctors. Those doctors not paid are products of the state university, the teaching hospital of some state universities. This is the situation. The funding is not enough. If we leave the government to continue to do what it is doing, the public university system will totally decay, and everyone will now resort to private universities, because it's getting to that point.
You need to see a video trending last 2 weeks. A woman that went to her daughter's hostel in University of Nigeria. If she was showing that hostel, it looks like a prison yard. If you see how dilapidated and dirty the hostels.
That's why they asked for that infrastructure fund. It's part of the agreement. You signed, but you will not release money.
You can't believe that is University of Nigeria.
Yeah, some of the issues raised in the, they deliberately coined it memorandum of action and not memorandum of understanding, because they said they have been signing a memorandum of understanding, but it's like the federal government is not understanding the situation.
This is not for your understanding now.
Now they now change it to a memorandum of action. Now
that is because it is different from a memorandum of understanding.
I understand.
They want them to take action
on
those
items.
It's not a matter of that they don't understand. Take action.
But they have been on this matter for God knows when. That's why they want action.
They started in 2009 or so.
Yeah, some of the items, like Julia has mentioned some of them. Visitation panel. They said even they have to beg the government, bring these visitors to come and look at your schools. Look at the state of the state we are in these schools.
Facilities.
Now they have done that partially. Then pay our promotion areas. Then the revitalization fund, which they agreed. Well, they paid 40 billion to the central bank, but then the money has been at the CBN vault since January. I mean,
to access
they have not accessed a dime. Maybe it's accruing interest there. They will tell us how much that one has grown to be. Then they want a renegotiation of the 2009 agreement. They have not started that.
No, they've negotiated. That's the panel headed by Musa Jibrin. What they have refused to do is to look at the report and then take action on the report.
The Jibrin's report.
Yes, because you see, after 2009, that agreement was signed. The agreement was that you will constantly
review after 5 years.
So that Musa Jibrin was headed that panel, the former NUC executive secretary. But they have refused to look at the findings of
the report.
And if they don't do anything about the panel, that means it's back to square one.
The agreement.
Then they are saying that the integrated personnel payroll system, payroll information system, cannot take care of their end academic allowances. I mean, that it only takes care of their monthly salary. I mean, these end academic allowances include those exchange programs, the role as external examiners, and research and stuff like that. Yeah, that I expect that.
Even when they agreed to that one, you know, they said they should go and share it. They should go and share the money with NASU, non-academic staff. And they now say, ASUU now say, but it was ASUU that went on strike. Why are you saying we should share the money with NASU?
Yeah, they also said there should be a perimeter fence because of this increased cases of banditry and stuff like that. Let
me take this caller. Ita is calling us from Ife. That's in National State.
Hello?
Thank you for staying with us.
Hello?
Yes,
Hello.
Ita, go ahead.
Yes? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just keep talking.
He's listening to himself.
Ita, you're on live. Okay, you're talking about perimeter fencing.
Yeah, perimeter fencing for the campuses of those universities. It will cost a lot of money, but I mean, it's something.
Right
When Boko Haram struck inside my unit, it then occurred to us that we should do a fence.
We should do it. So, I mean,
but there was no wall.
Even if you can't do it at once, but start, and I mean, eventually you will get there. So,
but the federal institutions.
Another key issue is
land.
the fact that the amount that is being charged for tuition and accommodation in most public schools are no longer sustainable.
Ridiculous.
Are no longer
for 2021.
Yes,
they yesterday I was told that because University of Benin
is not asking them to.
No, they are not asking, but we are saying that as part of the solution.
When Nigeria was 40 million people, when we had 40 million students, different from when we were 200 million now.
AY, in one of the private universities in the southwest, if your child is studying medicine, it is 12 million naira.
It's very expensive.
I know the truth.
It is, but
it's not far away from your
and now it is 12 million naira.
12 million naira.
Yes.
Wow.
But how much is it to study medicine? The highest in any federal university in Nigeria is we won't pay up to 500,000.
Well,
is this sustainable?
Federal university will ask you to pay tuition fee of 500,000 naira.
Bed space is 45,000 naira.
That should be the highest.
Now,
I'm telling you.
Bed space
during our time it was 90 naira.
Yes.
90 naira.
So it is
I have Mohammed from Amsterdam. Mohammed.
Good evening.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Mohammed. I'm calling from Amsterdam.
All right, go ahead, please.
University issue. It is unfortunate about what is happening in our country pertaining the university students. I am a university student before I live in Nigeria, and I live halfway of my study because of how the teaching facility and how they treat lecturers and how things are going extremely bad. And fortunately for me, when I got scholarship over here, I have to tax myself. I'm in a final year in Nigerian university, and I'm coming over here to start afresh. Which one will I choose for myself? Definitely I choose here because it has basic infrastructure for me to learn. They treat their lecturers very well. They have facilities. We all know how abroad schools are. Now, coming back to the universities, if our government cannot invest in education, what do they want to invest in? The only thing the youth of that country is asking is give us good education, give us good health. These two basic sectors are currently on strike. One is on strike. Education is about to go on strike again.
Yes.
And tomorrow we complain that the youth are going into Yahoo. Though it's not like how will I say it? It's not like an opportunity, or it's not like a privilege for the youth to take up Yahoo or other means to live. But these are the frustration that venture them to go into all other things, because the education that should keep them busy in school is on strike. And we are talking about producing youth leaders of tomorrow. Then how do we gonna have good leaders tomorrow?
Thank you for your contribution, Mohammed. Thank you, Mohammed, all the way from Amsterdam.
He said he has to leave as a final year student to go and start 100 level.
Yes, you see, public universities are being destroyed in our country. With strikes and the rest of them. And
And they have the best.
Look at
the best of lecturers, best of everything.
All these private universities
doctors
continue to use their staff.
Yes.
They use their staff. In fact, I don't see how they can succeed if they don't their staff don't go to help
I told somebody from a private university that you cannot be an head of department, in any department,
federal university.
If you are just a PhD holder or MSc holder in a place like University of Lagos.
You are going too far. Look at the results from law school every year. Public universities still produce the best. When you have distinctions and a second class, I mean, in law school, you will see schools like UI, Ife, Ahmadu Bello producing like 10, 15 before you see any of these private universities coming up with one. Maybe like number 10 or 11. The records are there to show.
The fact that the equipment and everything that they used to train them, we still have the best.
That's why the fact that they are
doctors.
So I think
good lecturers are still there.
Yeah, I think
despite the frustration and giving their best.
ASUU and the federal
I just hope that
at
this one, let them implement the Musali Jibrin report, because you set up the panel by yourself. They didn't force you. Just as the Senate president said, he said, agree to pay only what you can pay. Don't go into agreements that you can't implement. You sign agreement at the end of the day you don't want to implement.
All right.
It's wrong.
Moving on and